This is what I'm married to.
I am caulking.
How? What? I can't figure that. I can't figure that out. He's really taking things to another level today.
Welcome back to our channel. We're getting one step closer into finishing our living room. What have we done so far? We have done the internal window. Bum! We have painted the external windows from the inside. And what we need to do now is to fit the skirting boards. You would think that fitting skirting boards is quite easy, right? Right, you're correct. However, in this house, everything needs to be a challenge. So let's see what the challenges are. Together with the skirting boards, we need to fit the Architrave trims at the same time so that they will match the rest of the house. They should be sitting somewhere here 5 mm away from the Architrave. The problem is that there used to be a door here, which was gone before we bought the house, and we need to figure out a way to fill those corners here. Now I have found this strip wood that almost matches. Also, we don't want to have this huge gap in between here and here. Also, we cannot place the Architrave trims here because then I would need to plaster again on the other side. So, how do we do this? It happens that we have made just the right tool for this job. Come and have a look.
And here comes our beloved homemade router table, built a year and a half ago during one of those we can totally do this weekends. We didn't know at the time, but it would end up being one of the most useful things we've ever made.
So what do we have here is a cone router bit, which is going to give us this nice bevel.
With the 45-degree bit in place, Joris makes the first test cut. And look at that, a beautiful bevel. Our little router table is all grown up and doing real projects now. Because the trim was thicker than the actual gap, out comes the planer. And of course, the calipers. When Joris wants something to fit perfectly, the calipers come out. And here's the dry fit. And perfection! There is nothing this man loves more than something clicking into place exactly how he imagined it. A proud little moment. To attach everything, he's using CT1 and a few brad nails. Now that we see the footage again, he could have just used wood glue. And it was going perfectly until this happened. DIY rule number 47. If it can fall on you, it probably will. Now he's marking where the outer trims will sit, leaving a clean 5 mm reveal. This is where precision matters. Combination square out. Tongue out. Concentration level maximum. First he is marking the top trim based on the 5 mm lines he just marked on the Architrave. It needs to be exactly the same length. And yes, as always, the realistic DIY hand miter saw for the 45 degrees cut. Not everything needs a giant, expensive power machine. Most of the time, the humble £7 saw is all you need.
This miter saw is all about space and how often we use it. Perfect. Let's cut the other two.
Similarly, he's marking the side trims, again following the 5 mm lines. A little CT1 on the wall, a little wood glue on the trim, belts and braces. Then a few brad nails to hold everything while it dries. And great news! Nothing fell on his head this time. Now onto the skirting boards, which we pre-primed with Armstead Trade Primer in that nice tinted grey. To make the skirting flow perfectly into the Architrave, he scribes the trim curve on the floor and uses a coping saw to patiently shape it. Look at that. Smooth and clean.
Actually, that's almost perfect.
The first piece ends at a wide 270-degree angle, so out comes the combination square to mark the cut. Easy angle, clean joint, and onto the next wall, all the way to our internal corner.
Perfection! Almost.
And for that internal corner, how do you make this a perfect joint without a lot of fuss and simple tools? He makes a scribing jig, a brilliant little trick. He cuts both ends of an offcut at 45 degrees, then follows the coloured primer line with a coping saw. This gives a perfect template for copying that decorative curve. Now watch this. He places the full-length skirting, presses it tight to the wall, then uses the jig to transfer the exact profile. A quick cut with the tenon saw. The miter box is not needed here, no idea why he used it. A final shape with the coping saw. And boom! The skirtings meet like they were factory made together.
I'll take a tiny break and I will continue with the rest of the room. When I reach the corners, one will be 90 degrees, the other one will be scribed, and so on. See you on the other side.
Once the jig is made, the rest of the room goes surprisingly fast. One wall was too long for a single piece, so he joins two with matching 45-degree cuts. Here's a little recap of how this magic corner join actually works. For every internal corner, he starts by cutting and placing the skirting board against the wall. That's the one that goes straight into the corner without any fancy cuts. Then the second piece, the one that has to tuck into it, is cut to the full size of the next wall and gets pressed firmly against the first board so it takes the exact angle of the wall. Once the board is sitting naturally in the angle, he grabs our little jig, the hero of the day, and uses it to copy the exact profile of the moulding onto the new piece. It's actually tracing around a perfect version of the shape we need, but without doing geometry on the floor. Then comes the cutting, a straight cut with the tenon saw, and the delicate curves are finished with the coping saw. And when the two pieces meet, just look at that, a tight, clean scribe that looks like it was done by a seasoned carpenter. Meanwhile, this is just us in our living room on a Sunday afternoon. And anytime he meets an obstacle, like the patio door trim we painted in the last video, he scribes around it. It's all coming together now.
And after having done all of this, it's time to glue things on the wall and staple them on the wall. If you have watched our video on how we prepared the walls, we plastered all the way down so that we could staple them. If you have not watched the video, what are you waiting for? Link in the description. I'm using pink grip for two reasons. One, it is cheaper, and second, it acts quite fast, so you don't need to wait for anything.
Actually very fast stuff, so you have to work quickly before it forms a skin. A lovely wavy wiggle on the skirting board, then pressed into place, and a few brad nails to lock it in. Then repeat all the way around the room. Watch out for the sockets, you don't want to be nailing the cables in the wall below them.
Wood filler.
With the glue dry and the nails set, it's time for wood filler. 2-part filler for the bigger gaps, because it dries like stone, but freezes as quick as B in the North Pole.
Especially in here.
And for the nail holes, 1-part filler, because it dries slower and sanity is important. This is a stage where everything looks worse before it looks better.
The primer is dry, the wood filler is dry, but the wood filler is dry, all crusty. So, Fun Day Sunday, a very fine sandpaper, just swish it across the top, smooth it off, ready to be painted.
A little sanding, a little finger testing. You know the drill. This is the part where you pretend you're a sculptor and no one can tell you otherwise. And here we have Joris in a deeply questionable position, applying masking tape so he doesn't recreate the caulking disaster of 2025 when he painted the windows. Growth. We love going through it. Before caulking, Joris gives all the filled spots a quick primer touch-up. It might look like an extra step, but it makes the final finish completely seamless. And also, he just really loves an excuse to prime things.
How's it going? I seem to always find you in a corner. Or down on the floor.
I am caulking. So I'm spreading a bit. Whoop.
Nice.
And I'm wetting this. I'm using 90 degrees because we had to use tape because this wall is all the walls are freshly painted. And we're using 90 degrees to level it. And that's the caulking. First pass. I'm using this now to collect some of the excess. One more. And then Just be certain. I think it's good.
And this is why you remove masking tape immediately. Clean lines, zero mess, emotional healing complete.
If anyone can explain this to me, finding him, can you see through the glass? I don't know. Can you see how he's Hello? What? I can't figure that I can't figure that out. It doesn't focus very well. It's focusing on my reflection.
And now it's time for the final coat of paint on the skirting boards. You absolutely can do this with just one brush, which is exactly what Joris starts with here. A steady hand, follow the caulking line, and that's all you need for a clean finish. But also, to make things easier, you can use a trim brush, and suddenly life gets a whole lot easier. The thinner profile gives you so much control along the top edge, especially with that crisp caulk line we work so hard for. So yes, one brush works perfectly fine, but the trim brush definitely helps if you want the job done a little faster and with fewer accidental wobbles.
This is what I'm married to. Just your average person who gets into this position while painting. I'll sign up for that any day.
I don't know how else you can see it, other than going down there.
He still tapes the floor though, because the floor is the one place where even he doesn't trust his talent.
What's that doing there?
I made a mess. Dropped the brush. But this is water-based, so I can just wipe it off.
He's really taking things to another level today.
And here it is, our finished skirting and architraves. Clean corners, perfect scribes, smooth joins, and a doorway that finally makes sense again. This room has officially turned a corner, literally and figuratively, whatever that word might be. As always, if we can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next one.
And the gap on the door is 18 millimeters. I need to remove 2 millimeters.